This is my press conference that they told me I was going to have, but they also keep telling me I'm not supposed to answer any questions. So I'll just read the teleprompter, then go take my nap. Actually, I'd like to take a nap now.
Hey,
are we done?
Oh, sir, we have questions.
You do? You mean, ones they haven't told me the answers to? Is this a trick?
No, sir.
Are the answers in the teleprompter?
No, sir.
Am I in the Twilight Zone? What's happening here? I'm more confused than usual.
Sir, can you please just answer some of our questions?
I don't think so. I don't have that thing in my ear that tells me what to say.
Hey, sir,
We
please
just
have some
President
questions,
Mimi.
sir.
I swear, all my questions are softballs.
Can you make them multiple choice and no D, all of the above? That always throws me. I wish I could get the vice president to help do this stuff, but I've forgotten what he looks like.
She.
What?
The vice president is a woman, Mr. President.
Hey folks, this is Peter Boykin, and this is hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. So we've got a couple of things to talk about today. So let's get to it.
I think it's time for us to go right.
I mean, come on. Well, he dropped out, and it's really, he truly did. That was a coup on an American president, and Obama doesn't like him, and he doesn't like Obama.
Do you believe that reporting, that Cy Hirsch reporting that Obama basically through various channels, maybe even directly to Biden, said, "Look, Joe, you either leave or." You know, they're going to use the 25th Amendment.
We'll do it the easy way or the hard way.
Right. Some version of that story, do you find that plausible?
That's what happened. I mean, the bad part is that it's not, you know, they talk about a threat to democracy. They're a threat to democracy because they should have gone out to see who it is. Now, I like this better because I'd rather run against him than I think any one of the people that we're talking about or that could get it. I think I probably would prefer running against her more than running against anybody else. She's a disaster.
You're the clear favorite.
First up, Trump is gaining ground against Harris in recent polls. I've already told you there's a quote behind polls because polls are kind of like statistics. They're valid information, but manipulated in a way, one way or the other, and depending on what data is collected, who you're getting the data from, it can be manipulated, just like history. But it's good to hear polls, if it makes you feel better. In a recent poll released by Reuters and IPSOS, former President Donald Trump is gaining ground in potential matchup against Vice President Kamala Harris. The poll conducted over a period shows Trump at 42% and Harris at 43%. Indicating a tightening race. Now, I still think that Donald Trump is beating Harris in the polls, in most polls you see. But people have to be motivated. People have to feel like you're the underdog to work harder. And one thing I found about fellow Republicans way back when I told them in 2018, what was it? Yeah, 2018, that don't get relaxed just because Donald Trump is doing great after 2016. And people got relaxed. We lost the House and the Senate. People returned back to the BS social conservative crap and didn't concentrate on building the wall and everything. And Trump did not have the support. Why did they do that? Because they felt like we were completely winning. And the problem is when you feel like you're winning the race, this is the tortoise and the hare, you don't fight as hard. And then the tortoise ends up winning the race. So we have to constantly think, hey, we're not winning. Even when you think you're winning, you should not think you're winning, because that's the only way to truly motivate yourself and to keep pushing it. Now, in a previous poll, Trump was also at 42%, while Harris had a slight lead at 44%. According to that poll. While the polling data suggests a shift in public opinion, it's important to remember the limitations of such surveys. Polls provide a snapshot of a moment in time and can fluctuate. As one commentator noted, not everything the media says glitters is gold. Most of it is crap, right? This serves as a reminder to critically evaluate polling data, particularly in a narrow window of time. Additionally, it's reported that Vice President Kamala Harris will announce her running mate soon, potentially influencing future polling numbers and the dynamics of the race. Now, in this constitutional republic, the evolving political landscape underscores the importance of informed and engaged citizenry as the nation approaches a critical electoral decision. And I know every year, every time, this is the most important, this is the most important. Well, this is the most important, at least now in this time period right now. And then 4 years from now, when we have some new people come up, because Trump will not be able to run again, then it's going to be another crucial period. Where do we stand? Do we understand what's been going on, that there's an influx of unaffiliated voters, that people are tired of being left or right or put into certain categories? And do we understand that the next presidential categories candidates need to understand what we the people mean? They need to understand what all people need, and they need to get away from this lose or win mentality, when compromise and free will and this country depends on compromise and moderation, because that's what this country was all about, the great compromise. A melting pot of different ideas.
Happened in the military, a lot of people would be fired. And if a lot of people are not fired, the system failed yet again. Having said that, the people who are brave and jumped on the stage to protect the president need to be applauded. We need to learn what happened, make corrective action, but somebody's got to be fired. Nothing's going to change until somebody loses their job. Thank you.
So a Secret Service sniper warned of a second Trump assassination attempt. Secret Service insider warns of the potential assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Because where there's one, there could be many. And we have to worry about that. We don't just get relaxed. You know, lightning can strike multiple times, especially when someone is targeted. A U.S. Secret Service, USSS sniper, has raised alarms within the agency, predicting a potential second assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. The sniper's concerns were conveyed through an email that criticized the agency's leadership and highlighted vulnerabilities in protecting the high-profile leaders. And there was a video somewhere I got where they had surrounded that building, clearly 5 minutes ahead of time. Knew that there was suspicion of this person possibly on the roof. They saw the person and everything, but they did not clear Donald Trump. They did not make sure the situation was handled. They let Donald Trump stay out there, being a city duck. So, you know, we've seen the person, part of the FBI or whatever, has, you know, dropped out of their role. There's a big inquiry, what's going on. But there was a lot of failures, and it still seems to lead that somebody wanted Donald Trump dead, and they were told to stand down and let it happen. And thank God it didn't happen. But we have to stay on it. The sniper also mentioned a desire for accountability within the agency, stating, quote, "I'm not stopping until 5 high-level supervisors, one down, are either fired are removed from the current positions." This appears to reference the recent resignation of USSS Director Kimberly Schittle. Leadership is criticized. The email criticized the USSS leadership, particularly in response to the recent incident in Butler, Pennsylvania, which the sniper described as a failure on the part of supervisors. He wrote, "The technicians who worked did their jobs with their hands tied. Secret Service supervisors knew better, and the foot soldiers working made the best of a very bad situation. This suggests that the leadership's decisions may have compromised the agency's effectiveness. And then there's deletion of email. According to Real Clear Politics, the agency reportedly deleted the email from its systems, raising concerns about transparency and accountability within the USSS. The sniper concluded his email with a sharp critique, stating, "The motto of the USSS, see ya, and every supervisor is doing it right now." Now here's opinion. This email reflects deep concerns within the Secret Service regarding its current state of leadership and its ability to fulfill its duty to protect leaders in the United States. The sniper's warnings, if taken seriously, could prompt much needed reforms within the agency. However, the email also suggests internal conflicts with dissatisfaction that may hinder such changes. As with any such internal communications, the prospect presented is personal and opinion-based, expressing the sniper's views on the situation. The broader implications for the agency and its leadership remain to be seen. Source of that is the National Pulse, retooled through GoRightNews.com. And let's move on to the next bit of information.
Le está hablando es lámpara seria para que estén claros. Mira, esto va con los malditos colectivos. Que no se coman la luz, está saliendo, meterse con el pueblo, porque lo vamos a reventar. Y si se vuelven locos, le vamos a reventar también a la familia. Para que estén claros, ¿no? Los colectivos, todos con los colectivos. Que se la tiran de loco. Se la tiran de loco, nosotros somos más locos. Que siempre andan picando en el cuenta del gobierno y quieren ser malandros esos malditos colectivos. Mira lo que tenemos, ¿ves? Vale, durísimo cuando empiezan a votar por ahí. Los malditos, mira, que se vuelvan locos porque lo vamos a masacrar plomo, yo. Malditos colectivos, malditos sapos, mamá, pueblo de Venezuela, que no mira, se con el pueblo. No tenemos casi. No tenemos, maldito con Guatemala. No te metas con el pueblo de Venezuela porque te va a agarrar de pura píldora, maldito. Cara, maldito Maduro, esa maldita mierda, acepta tu maldita derrota. Capa, Maduro, capa, maldito coño de tu madre, capa. Yo te voy a reventar la cara, maldito.
Well, the Fox News at Night Common Sense Department knows satire when it sees it. The definition of satire is simple: to use humor to expose people's stupidity of politics and other issues. So when Common Sense saw the new Kamala Harris campaign ad, the first thing that came to mind was satire, because the ad is intended to, quote, highlight Trump's failure to secure our southern border. It's funny, right? Trump ran on securing the border. Trump secured the border. And the left called him inhumane. But the Harris campaign now says, quote, Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents. Did anybody in the Harris campaign read the 2018 letter signed by Kamala Harris saying, quote, reject President Trump's fiscal year 2019 funding request for a costly and ineffective border wall and new Border Patrol agents? It's the same Kamala who fought Trump's, quote, reckless immigration enforcement options, the same Kamala who wanted to dismantle ICE. And yet now Kamala, don't call me the border czar Harris, totally admits our immigration system is broken and says we have two choices, quote, the one who will fix our broken immigration system or the one who's trying to stop her. Common Sense thinks there's a fine line between satire and liar. One is funny, one is sad. This ad is sad.
There's a Venezuelan gang that's threatened U.S. law enforcement. Venezuelan gang gives the green light to shoot U.S. cops. A recent report indicates the members of a Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragnia, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, have allegedly been authorized to target law enforcement officers in Denver, Colorado of all places. This information, detailed in a federal memo from the Homeland Security Investigations Office in Chicago, was reportedly provided by credible sources in Colorado. The memo states credible human sources from Colorado provided information on TDA, that's Tren de Aragnia, giving a, quote, green light to fire on or attack law enforcement. Now here's some background in gang activities. Trinidad Arega, named after the Areguia region in Venezuela, is a notorious prison gang involved in various criminal activities, including human trafficking, theft, gun smuggling, and money laundering. The gang has established a presence in several U.S. cities, including New York, Chicago, and Miami. That's not Trump's fault. Border security concerns. The gang's infiltration into the United States has been attributed to what critics describe as inadequate border policies under the current administration. It is reported that some gang members enter the country posing as asylum seekers, desperately avoiding gang tattoos to prevent detection. This issue underscores ongoing debates about the effectiveness of the Constitutional Republic's immigration policies and ensuring public safety. Now, here's some recent incidents. The threat posed by Trinidad Arega is highlighted by a recent incident in New York where Bernardo Raul Castro Manta, reportedly affiliated with the gang's New York City division, shot 2 New York police officers. This incident has raised concerns about the gang's expanding influence and the challenges in identifying and apprehending its membership. So there's a lot of law enforcement challenges. An anonymous Border Patrol source expressed frustration with the current administration's handling of border security, stating, quote, "We have zero access to other nations' criminal databases, and with this administration's uselessness in deterring these criminals, they will keep entering undetected." This opinion reflects a broader sentiment among some law enforcement officers who feel hampered by what they perceived as lenient border policies. Now here's our future outlook. It's grim. As the nation approaches another election cycle, questions arise about the future direction of border security and immigration policies. The situation with this gang highlights the complex challenges facing the constitutional republic in balancing humanitarian considerations with the need for public safety. Protecting our citizens here already. The situation emphasizes the need for a robust response to ensure the safety of both law enforcement officers and the public, reinforcing the importance of a strong and effective border policy under the principles of the Constitution. The source of this is the New York Post. Folks, it's only going to get worse as we have a wide open border and more unchecked people get in. Imagine the airport pre-9/11. No real checks, not like they have today. Run amok. Anything could happen. Anybody can get through. If we don't have a proper border, if we don't have a proper wall, we don't have proper protection, like Donald Trump said, we don't have a country. We'll no longer have a country. We'll be overrun from people. And I know there's great people, and we've used this analogy before about the bag of Skittles. Great bag of Skittles, taste great, almost all of them taste good, but there's one that's poisoned. One poison in the bag. If you knew there was a bag of Skittles so tasty, wonderful, wonderful and tasty, but there was one Skittle in that bag that could kill you, I doubt you would want to eat that bag. You would more likely throw that bag away. Or, if you were desperate, you'd go one by one and test every Skittle to make sure the one poisonous Skittle was taken out. And then you could enjoy the rest of the Skittles. That's kind of what's going on in this country. We might feel, we got bleeding heart liberals, etc., etc. We feel bad for people. We feel bad for refugees. We try to take people in. And you can give us that heart story, and you can show the children, and you can play the, in the eyes of an angel. And you can do all of that and make you feel bad. But all it takes is one. All it takes is one bad seed. Look what happened. An American citizen. There is some doubt about what was going on, how this person had extra accounts, and how this person was possibly paid by Iranians, who knows. But that one sniper could have took Donald Trump out. It only takes one person, ask Hitler, to change the world and change history. Moving on. Let's talk about Kamala Harris again. It's a revolving theme about Kamala Harris, as, you know, she's the new candidate in this election. Kamala Harris in Atlanta, highlighted by misinformation and rhetoric. The biggest lies from Kamala Harris's rally in Atlanta. Kamala Harris recently spoke at a rally in Atlanta, Georgia, and I think she had the Stallion sing properly, you know, right before that, and she was talking about I think the Stallion was rapping like, you know, I'm bougie and I'm bad and I'm savage, and she was talking about her cha-cha and, you know, how people can rock her cha-cha, and just really, you know, today's so-called music, which is just basically dirt. I know that generation after generation have said that's dirty, oh that's dirty, but go back. They might have been talking about sex in the old songs, but at least they were like, alluding to it, or still making it sound good. Today's music is just basically stick your in my and let's get it on. I mean, I remember when people raised hell about 2 Live Crew in a long time. That music is nothing in comparison to what I've heard now about how you're wet and you got a wet at a WAP and everything else. And I'm not a prude, but that's maybe not the kind of songs that you would be playing at a rally. Maybe she needed to be a drag queen for more people to be uproar about it. So Kamala Harris recently spoke at a rally in Atlanta, Georgia, aiming to present herself as a moderate voice. However, her speech, attended by a large crowd, possibly drawn by rapper Megan Thee Stallion, preceding performance, contained several misleading statements about former President Donald Trump, as usual, because you just keep talking about the wrong information, misinformation. You know, the people who always talk about misinformation, oh, we're spreading misinformation, are the ones that like to spread the most misinformation out there. And people buy it. They live it. They don't even bother looking it up. This is the reason why I try to put out Go Right News. And I sometimes wait on a little bit of stories. I try to get more information out there. And then if I find something wrong, we retract. But again, I'm a constitutional liberty. I'm an opinionist. I opinionate on the news, but I try to get as accurate news as I can, and from multiple sources. I mean, I quoted the Huff and Puff and the New York Post. Doesn't have to be right sources. I'll quote left sources, especially when they get it right. So let's fact check. One of Harris's claims focused on immigration, where she criticized Trump by saying he tanked on bipartisan border deal. However, fact-checking reveals that his proposed bill would have allowed nearly 2 million illegal immigrants to enter the country annually, which contradicts her narrative. Now, addressing economic concerns, Harris stated that building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency, and emphasized the need for relief from the high cost of living. Yet, under the Biden-Harris administration, Bidenflation, has risen significantly. I know it. I've seen the prices go sky high, the gas prices, the grocery prices, the rent prices, the utility prices. Everything's gone up, but pay has barely gone up. People's Social Security has barely gone up. The cost of living is going to shit. So under the Biden administration, Bidenflation has risen significantly, with consumer prices, including gas, increasing substantially. And if you don't believe it, you're living under a rock. Or living in a rock. Harris also criticized Trump's supposed connection to Project 2025, an initiative that she linked to negative policy implications. However, Trump has repeatedly disavowed any association with this project, making her statement misleading. Because as you notice, Donald Trump has the MAGA agenda, which has none of that 2025 bullcrap in there. That I think what the Heritage Foundation or some other place is put in there, which truly I feel like that is somehow the leftists are throwing that in to kind of like cause problems, to try to connect us to some kind of agenda that's a bunch of BS. Another point of contention arose when Harris claimed that Trump plans to cut Social Security and Medicare. This is the same Trump that the Democrats always say to the elderly. The Republicans are going to get rid of Social Security. The Republicans are going to take away your Medicaid. The Republicans are going to take care of your care. Blah, blah, blah. It's a lie. This assertion contradicts Trump's consistent public statements, including a recent interview with Breitbart, where he assured, I will never do anything that will jeopardize or hurt Social Security or Medicare. I think it's the Democrats that like to spend the money from Medicare and and everything, and they want to take and give the Medicare and Social Security to illegals who haven't paid into the system, etc. It's robbing from the people who, like myself, who've paid in for many, many years and deserve everything we get. And then they make it harder for people to get stuff when they truly need it. Now, this broader picture suggests Harris's reluctance to engage in open dialogue, as she is not prepared and not participated in interviews, press conferences, or debates, which raises questions about her preparedness and transparency. The Democrat Party appears to be managing her public appearances carefully, possibly to maintain a controlled narrative, and probably to take away the laughing gas from her so she doesn't go and give you a bunch of nothing burgers. Trump is set to hold his own rally in Atlanta at the same venue, which may offer a contrasting perspective on the issues raised by Kamala Harris. This ongoing exchange highlights the sharp divides and competing narratives in American politics today. Now, this references Harris's intelligence and personality, as well as the assertion about the Democratic Party's strategy. They are, my opinion, rather than facts, but the factual corrections about Harris's statements, however, are based on verifiable information. Verifiable information. If you want to watch Harris's full speech, it's on YouTube, probably other locations. Watch it. Just don't get brainwashed.
We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
Folks, that is the news for today. Let's do a little recap. So, number one, Donald Trump is doing pretty good in polls. I'm not big of a poll person, but they do have you motivate. Number two, no matter what the polls say, winning or losing, we have to fight hard. We have to get our voice out there. Even if social media is trying to limit our voices, we have to push to get the right and correct people in office. Not just because they're Republican, not just because they're Democrat, etc., etc. They need to be the right people. They need to be a constitutionalist. They need to believe in the Constitution. They need to believe in we the people. Alright, number three, gangs. Gangs are looking to harm American citizens and harm police. Why are they doing this? Because we have a wide open border. A wide open border that's letting these people come in unchecked. And it's not racist, and it's not foul to say these people are causing problems. And yes, our country was a great melting pot at one time, but do the research. When Ellis Island was open, when people came in, they had to have a sponsor, or they had to have their own money, or they had to have a skill to bring to America. And if they didn't, guess what? They put their asses back on the boat they came in, and they said, go back where you came from. We don't need you. We don't need burdens. We need to start thinking about that again here in America. It's called America First. The next issue, fifth and last issue. Kamala Harris. Remember, she's of the Biden administration. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. She can speak a little bit more. I've said, hey, I would rather have her than bumbling Joe Biden who just keeps falling on her ass. But I don't want her for president. I want Donald Trump. But I'm still also concerned about what happens when Donald Trump is gone. The jury's still out on J.D. Vance. Not my pick. I don't know who my pick would have been. I'm like a lot of American citizens. I do consider myself a Republican. I am not a rhino. I'm not a Republican in name only, because I believe in our republic. I believe in what it stands. I believe in liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe in our Constitution, and I believe in our great country and the compromise, the great compromise of this country. I believe our country was based on people of different and diverse backgrounds who learned how to work together for a common good, and they wrote our great country's documents that are standing for almost 250 years now, and hopefully into the future. And I believe that, like they say, divided we fall, together we stand. We need to we need to get away from the extremism of this side's got to win, that side's got to win, nobody else can win, nobody can compromise, and if you even try to compromise, you're a rhino, you're a horrible person, etc., etc. Slow down on the name calling a little bit and start listening to the American citizens and understand why so many citizens went unaffiliated, who are tired of it, who don't want this so-called civil war. We had a civil war. Should have learned from that. And no, we do not want another civil war. No, we don't. And I think it's time we get away from the social conservative aspect of things. That we quit dying on the heel. And yes, there's memes out there because they'll say J.D. Vance is weird. And then now it shows weird people on the left, and we're saying, with the quote, yeah, there's weird people out there. But so were our forefathers. Lots of weird people in history. I don't care how weird you are. Let me tell you this. I had a rally. In Washington, D.C. a couple of years ago. Blue-haired woman sat next to me while we were in rally, and I'm like, oh boy, I got a blue hair here. She's probably a liberal. Next thing I know, she's taking the pictures with us. She was in our group, and she had that blue hair. So don't let that book, don't judge that book by that cover. There's plenty of transsexuals out there. There's plenty of drag queens out there. There's plenty of gays. There's plenty of blacks. There's plenty of Mexicans. There's plenty of all types of people out there who believe like you believe. But you might be quick to judge others. I don't usually answer chat because I'm not really live, but somebody asked if I do plan on running again. Yeah, I plan on running again. Don't know if I'll win. Lincoln ran many times, lost many times. I think the biggest factor that I have when I try to run is I don't have enough money. But I do work hard at what I do. It gets you a voice out there. I can do these podcasts all day. I can talk and I can ring the bell and say the British are coming, the British are coming, the bullshit is coming, the bullshit is coming, this is coming, and warn people all day long and tell people to go right. But I think that I need to be in the process somehow, and I need to somehow get into the governmental process to get things going, to try to be the voice of reason. And that's what I'm going to try to do in the future. And I've got a lot of people following me now all of a sudden. I got a lot of people friending me on Facebook. I don't know if some of them, a few of them are spam. But there's a lot of people following me now. I don't know if maybe it's these podcasts I'm doing. Again, God bless everybody. Peace, share, and love another like you want to love yourself. Oh, and like RuPaul would say, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love someone else? God bless. Peace.